All right, let's talk about print on demand and how much it sucks. No, let's not do that. There's a huge misconception around print on demand. A lot of people say that it sucks because the quality is not always going to be the same, because the quality is never going to be as good as if you do it in-house, because that. There's just too many cons when it comes to print on demand.
Let's hear pros and cons.
When it comes to print on demand, you don't have to base your entire business around it. You don't even have to use it to fulfill the majority of your orders. This video is going to teach you how to efficiently use print on demand for your own print on demand business. Now, what I mean by your own print on demand business is your own business where you literally print on demand yourself. I've heard the term print on demand tossed around very loosely. Some people refer to it as outsourcing. So outsourcing your work to a company like Printful or Printify, or print on demand where you are the one that actually does the printing on demand. So somebody gives you an order and then you order the transfers or you cut the HTV and you press it yourself. Technically, they both work as print on demand, but the actual term print on demand for the most part is always going to refer to outsourcing to something like Printful or Printify. Now, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of people don't like it because you can't really control the quality. Well, just order a sample.
It's simple.
Printful does have their own manufacturing or their own printing. They don't work with external printers, but Printify does. Printify works with a ton of different printers that you have access to, and you can choose which one you want to work with. So that gives you at least a little bit more control as to having consistent quality. One of the biggest printers on there that I can remember right off the top of my head is one called Monster Digital, and they actually had some of the best reviews. I think from what I remember, they didn't have as many options as some of the other competitors. So they had a limited number of options when it comes to colors, while some others had more colors to offer. Order a sample from both. The whole point of having multiple print suppliers in a company like Printify is if one runs out of a particular product or color, you're always going to have a backup, so that way you can get that order fulfilled. So my suggestion to you is to order just at least one sample from each print supplier that you want to work with. Not every single one that there is on there. Just check out the reviews, see which top 3 have the best reviews, and which ones have the colors and the products that you want to offer. Then you can go ahead and order a sample or 2 from each of them. Remember, when you order samples from Printify or Printful, you're going to get them at a discounted rate, so you're not going to be paying the full price for them. The point behind this is to be able to test out their quality. I understand that regardless of how good the quality is, most of the time you're going to prefer to do it yourself. And I completely understand that because I'm the same way. But let me tell you that you don't need to have print on demand to fulfill all of your orders. When it comes to print on demand, you can use them to test. If you have an Etsy store, you can load it up with 100 or 200 different designs, and you could set everything up as print on demand. Then once you actually start to get some sales on some of them, then you can start to decide whether or not it's worth bringing that production in-house. So what's the point of this? Well, if you have 1 or 2 different orders every week, every 2 weeks, then sometimes it might just not be worth your time actually cutting out that HTV, pressing it on the shirt, doing everything for the shipping fulfillment, and then sending it off, especially if you have to drive to a mailbox. So if you have very small orders, sometimes you don't want to go through that. And I get it. If you start to get more orders, if one of your designs starts to go viral, let's say you have a St. Patrick's Day design like the one that I had that actually started doing really well, then you can start to bring that in-house. That way you can increase your profits. That way you can maximize your profits and start making as much money as you can from that design. Because let's face it, when it comes to print on demand, since you're not doing pretty much almost any of the work, if not anything at all other than designing and uploading products, your profits are not going to be as big as if you were to do it yourself. So if you're able to bring this production in-house, you are going to be making a lot more money. But sometimes it's only going to be worth doing that if you have the order volume. If you don't, again, sometimes it might not even be worth actually coming up with these different designs. Now, let me give you a different scenario. If you use primarily or only heat transfer vinyl, how are you going to offer a full color t-shirt? Well, you can't unless you have a white toner printer or a DTF printer or a source for DTF transfers, which a lot of people have. I can hook you up with my people over at TKO Sales, and you can use code NECOPRINTS for 10% off your first order for their DTF transfers, their screen print transfers, or full color transfers, pretty much anything on the entire website. But for these, you're not going to be ordering just one. With DTFs, you're going to be ordering, let's say, a gang sheet. So you're going to have to order a sheet, and in that sheet, you're going to have multiple designs. So with this, you're going to be spending a lot of money for just one shirt. I'm not saying that it's not going to be worth it because you can save the transfers for later, but at the very beginning, sometimes it might not be worth it. Plus, doing it this way and ordering transfers every single time you get an order is going to really delay your orders, and people aren't going to want to wait because you're going to have to wait for your transfers to get to you. Then you're going to have to do the pressing. Then you're going to have to ship it out to your customers. So that's going to increase the production time by at least a week. Print on demand isn't the worst thing ever. Print on demand is actually very helpful. Again, if you can apply it properly into your business, you can make a lot of money and you can use it to test out different designs and different products. Let's say you have an idea for certain things you want to print if you have a product line. So you're limited to just pressing t-shirts, but you want to start offering hats or you want to start offering mugs, but you don't do sublimation. Print on demand can help you. It can really help you expand your product line without having the necessary equipment. And then again, eventually, if you start to get a lot of sales and you start to realize that you could be missing out on some profits and you prefer to do it yourself, then that money you're making from these products you're doing on print on demand, then you can use that to reinvest it into more equipment, a sublimation printer, a sublimation oven, a tumbler press. Print on demand is probably the lowest risk opportunity that you have to get into the t-shirt business with zero money. You can even use print on demand to get started with your t-shirt business or brand. So take this case, for example. You want to start your t-shirt business, but you can't because you don't have any money. The equipment is expensive, the cutters are expensive, the vinyl is expensive. Everything put together is going to equal out to, at a minimum, $500 to $600 investment just to get started. While to some people that doesn't seem like a lot, especially to get started with a business, to other people that's a lot of money. $500 is a lot of money. So how can you raise this capital? Do you want to start your own brand? Do you want to start selling on Etsy? Start making designs on print on demand and upload them to Etsy. If you don't have any other option, what do you have to lose? Just create these designs, upload them, and see if they sell. If they don't, then you really didn't lose anything. The only thing that you really lost would be the 20 cents that you paid to list each item on Etsy. Now, if you're selling on eBay, then you really didn't lose anything. You don't have to pay absolutely anything to start selling on eBay. Why not start with print on demand if you don't have the money to get started printing things on your own? As you start to get sales, as you start to get money coming in, then you can use that money to reinvest it into your own equipment, if that's even the route that you still want to go. Some people choose print on demand and they stick with it. It's because print on demand isn't as bad as a lot of people make it out to be. Now, another way that you can incorporate print on demand into your business to just get started without having any equipment is to take orders from customers, people that want custom designs, or let's say they want business shirts for their business or whatever it may be. Take those custom orders and then place them through a company like Printful. Of course, you're not going to be able to give them the huge price breaks if they start to order maybe 100 or 150. But for the most part, at the beginning, you're not going to be getting those kinds of orders, or at least you shouldn't be targeting those kinds of orders. Try to stick to stuff that you're able to do and that you're able to price appropriately. So let's say with print on demand, you can start selling t-shirts for maybe $18 to $25. It really depends on a few factors like the t-shirt brand that you're choosing from Printify or Printful. But ultimately what I'm trying to say is get custom orders, whether it be just one or whether it be 10 or 15 shirts. The price breaks between 1 to 10 or 15 shirts isn't going to be that much, and it's still something that's going to be able to be done or still able to be profitable through print on demand. This is one way that you're able to start your custom t-shirt business until you can start saving up enough money to then bring that production in-house and really maximize your profits and really be able to start offering orders in bulk. In my opinion, the biggest negative when it comes to print on demand is the profit margin. But again, that's offset with the fact that you're not putting in a lot of time to fulfill these orders. If you set aside, let's say $200, and those $200 you use just to fulfill orders, and you don't focus on that money at all, and you start to get orders, that's just going to keep increasing by itself. So you're essentially creating a passive income business with print on demand, or you can. That's an option that you have. Let's say you want to start offering a line of pet products. You've been wanting to start your own pet business. You want to start offering different things like pet beds, pet blankets, pet t-shirts, but you can't, because how are you going to print pet beds? That's not something that we can easily do on a heat press now, is it? So how can you do this? How can you expand your product lines with print on demand? That's one thing that I really do like about print on demand. It's the fact that you have access to an insane amount of products that you wouldn't be able to print in-house normally. Let's say something like this actually starts to pick up and you're selling a ton of pet beds. How can you bring that production in-house? Most of the times you're not going to be able to print these in-house, right? Because it might require some special equipment, some extra large heat presses, or maybe even some form of printing that you don't have access to for whatever reason. Then you start ordering in bulk. Now this can be, I don't want to say controversial, but this could get a little bit hard. So this can get a little bit hard simply because depending on the product, like let's say pet beds, you could potentially be looking at a lot of space that you need to have to store these products, or maybe rent out a closet, or maybe, I don't know, a storage space or something. So that can potentially bring on extra expenses. If you do want to increase your product lines or expand your product lines, and you don't want to have to deal with storage spaces because you need to order in bulk, or because you can't print certain items like, again, pet beds, then have print on demand fulfill it for you. I'm telling you, there's no reason not to include print on demand for products that you don't have access to print yourself. It's kind of the same way with drop shipping. You can include print on demand products into your store, and you can also start drop shipping products into your online store. So as long as you have relevant products that go with your business model, then you can drop ship products from AliExpress, from CJ Dropshipping, from DHgate, whatever supplier it is. If you want to learn more about dropshipping, just let me know down in the comments below. But you're able to include a lot of these different products that you don't have to fulfill yourself into your business, simply to help you expand your business. You don't have to dedicate your entire time or your entire store to those business models. You don't have to dedicate your entire store to print on demand. You don't have to dedicate your entire store to drop shipping. You can have a hybrid store where you fulfill the products that you can make in-house, or the products that you have the ability to fulfill in-house. And then what you don't have the ability to do or the ability to store, then you outsource, you drop ship it, you use print on demand to fulfill those orders. You see what I'm getting to? At the end of the day, it's something that if you don't have it added to your store, it's not going to really make a difference in your workflow. The only difference that it's going to make is maybe having you stop for a little bit, make a few different designs, come up with some different products, and add those to your store. That's the only thing extra that you're going to be doing. Because once those items, or once those print on demand products are already listed in your store, then you're done. You don't have to do anything with them. You don't have to fulfill those orders. Most of those orders, depending on the platform that you're using, are going to be fulfilled automatically. Printify and Printful, when somebody places an order in your Etsy store and Printify or Printful are integrated or connected to your Etsy store, those orders are fulfilled automatically. All of that stuff is done pretty much hands off by you. So you don't even have to focus on that. The only thing you need to do is answer customers. If your customer has a question about the product, if your customer has any concerns about their order, it's up to you to provide that customer service. But anything other than that, in terms of fulfilling, you don't have to do anything. Now, this can go both ways. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to start using print on demand to find winning products that you can bring in-house. You can start implementing print on demand, and then once certain products that you already make in-house start to gain traction, if you don't want to do those yourself because, I don't know, maybe it's too much work, then you can outsource that to print on demand as well. So that way you can start to become even more hands-off. But I know a lot of people don't like to do that because they do like to keep as much of the profit as possible. And trust me, I'm guilty for that. I like to do that. If it's taking you too long to, I don't know, weed the heat transfer vinyl, or marry the A and B sheets for your white toner prints, or print your DTF transfers, then outsource that. So instead of having to weed your vinyl designs every single time that you get an order, you can do those in bulk prior. But that's going to take a lot of time, it's going to take a lot of storage, and vinyl gets sticky. So instead of doing that, order transfers. Screen print transfers are single colors, 2 colors, 3 colors, 4 colors, all the way up to 5 colors. And you can get them at TKO Sales. If you get the basic 1 color transfer for about 9 by 12 inches, that's going to cost you 15 cents. You're going to have a setup fee of $40, and you're going to have your 15 cents per transfer. So if you have that design, if you have one that is doing really well, that just has maybe a saying on it, or a text-based design, or just a design that's 1 color, you can go to TKO Sales and get 100 screen print transfers for just $40. I'm not sure if I mentioned the setup fee earlier. If I did, I think I said $40. If not, it's $25. What I meant was $40 is how much the total order comes out. If you have 100 screen print transfers of that size in 1 color, 9 by 12 inches, and you order 100 of them, it's going to be 15 cents each with a $25 setup fee, totaling you $40 for 100 transfers. Outsourcing your production for your transfers is also something that can be extremely beneficial to you, because at the end of the day, it can actually be more profitable than weeding it yourself or weeding those designs yourself. Because if you have overly complicated designs with a lot of intricacies and a lot of detail, that's going to take you a long time to cut and to weed, especially if you have 10, 20, 30, 40 different ones that you have to do. Screen print transfers come ready to press, so all you have to do is design them, place your order, receive them, and press them. So I guess what I'm trying to say in pretty much this entire video is that you have the ability to outsource a lot of your products and still be very profitable. Or you also have the ability to outsource a lot of your products to be able to start expanding your product lines or expanding your business. You don't always have to stick to those particular business models if you don't like them that much. You find success in a particular design for print on demand, bring it in-house and start maximizing your profits. You realize that weeding your heat transfer vinyl is taking way too long for these particular orders, then outsource that to TKO Sales and get the screen print transfers, so all you have to do is press. It's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. It's pretty easy once you figure out how your business works and how you're growing and which designs are actually the ones that are making you money. And eventually you're going to get your own flow of how to do things. This video might have been a little bit everywhere. I think I might have had it a little bit too all over the place because I didn't really work on a structure for it. It kind of just came out of my head. It was something that I was thinking about. If you enjoyed this video, let me know down in the comments below what you thought of it. Let me know what you think of print on demand. Have you tried it? Have you incorporated it into your business? Did you try using it to simply start your own business? Or is it something that you've never considered because of the fact that you don't have much control over quality? Let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Huge thank you to everyone for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end. Obviously, if you made it this far, that means you enjoyed the video. So make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ring that little bell notification so you don't miss out on any future videos that have to do with t-shirts. Make sure to use code NECOPRINTS to get 10% off your first order at tkosales.com. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.